Hey, how's it going? I guess look at my signs. Do a little disclaimer work there. Opinion commentary, that's the main thing I'd like to impart. Okay, I, I pulled some cards, but I also wrote something, and I don't know if I'm going to want to do as long as it's going to take, do as long a video as it's going to take to do all of them. So I may touch upon these cards, but I don't know. We'll see. So I wanted to read what I wrote because I like to write stuff and share it with people. But, so I was like, just waiting for some idea to come to me, and the phrase, the scales fell from their eyes, or the scales are falling from their eyes, crossed my mind, and, it was, I was just alone at the time, contemplating, and it just sort of within the context of whatever I was thinking about. I no longer remember what it was, but within the context of what I was thinking of, now it's coming to me what I'm remembering. So, okay, why I started even having that thought was because I was watching some videos on YouTube, and it was people, it wasn't FAFO videos, which are like videos of people saying, oh no, this is happening to me because my life, I made these life choices, and now I'm really sorry. And it's a lot of mean schadenfreude, which I don't care for. It just makes my stomach feel kind of bad. So I don't enjoy the, haha, you deserve it. You did this to yourself. Do you like that when it's happening to you? Like, why is it that our reaction to these other people that some of us don't agree with? Like, I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm on the left, I'll tell you that much, but don't call me a Dem or a liberal, because I'm neither. But I'm not a Republican, I'm not a conservative, I'm not a MAGA, I'm not a QAnon, I'm not any of that more right-leaning kind of stuff as we think of it. But I'm open to, like, thinking about what they have to say and learning what they have to say. And also, the same goes for the opposite end of this scale. I don't fully agree with all of the left. I think I made that pretty clear about the way I'd like to be referred to. That should have given you a little clue. I don't know, you can give me more of a designation at this point than just put me on the left. Don't worry about the details. But, so anyway, these videos that I came across were actually people who, I guess, in context, you could say they woke up. What they woke up to is not necessarily what whoever it is that would be gratified by somebody finally waking up. It may not be the people that you thought were going to wake up, and what they woke up to may not be what you were thinking they were going to just, of course they were going to wake up to. I wouldn't count on that. So, but it was people that some of them had voted on the right and were regretting it, and were like, and this was something I had been looking for that I really hadn't been seeing much of at all, was people going, oh my God, the Dems were right, I was wrong. And I guess, like, coming from that end of the spectrum, admitting that you were wrong to the people that you were so sure were wrong yourself about stuff, it can be humbling. I think for us to get the most out of it, it has to be a somewhat humbling experience, either humbling or traumatizing in some way. Otherwise, stuff doesn't seem to make an impression with us or something. But I don't wish, harm or trauma or even hurt feelings on people. Like, there's enough of that going on, and you certainly don't need my addition to it. And it's not going to do really a dang thing for me to be dishing out that kind of treatment to people. Who the hell am I? How dare me? I just wouldn't. Because I don't want people doing that to me. Okay, so I was watching them, and at some point in my thoughts, the phrase "scales falling from their eyes" came to mind. And so I thought, oh, I better write down stuff about that. So let me find the beginning of it, and I will share that with you. Oh, here it is. Okay. The scales are falling from our eyes. That's the title. I think it's not too highfalutin to say, amongst other things, we are living in a period of enlightenment. And boy, my friend really wants to talk every time I start doing this. They're just going to have to wait. Yeah, I think it's a time of enlightenment. All landing in a pile after a decade of strong opinions. I'm right and you're wrong. We'd ask to be proven wrong. Uninformed or any number of bias, possession, or suffering. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I jumped to a whole other sentence. Let me try that again. All landing in a pile after a decade of strong opinions. I'm right and you're wrong. I should put an exclamation point on that, because that really is more than just a regular old sentence. There we go. We'd ask to be proven wrong, uninformed, or any number of biasisms. Or else we were under demonic possession or suffering a derangement syndrome. Or any number of other insults particular to a side. In the months extending forth from the prior decade have been, oh, well, I guess I didn't need in. Let me just eliminate that right now. The months extending forth from the prior decade have been revealing. There have been groups on the right, for example, that were disseminating information that a lot of times ran counter to collectively accepted science and events or involvements of people that we're beyond those bounds. Oh, that were beyond those bounds. Why did I put an apostrophe there? Now I'm writing like stupid autocorrect. What are you doing? Okay. What I found once I took the time to investigate, to go chat with them, I encountered, oh hell, what is that? Oh, I encountered an amalgam of truth. Proven, that's parenthetical, or mostly accepted, again parenthetical, to plain old questionable, to outrageous. Through interaction with them, I found shared skepticism and curiosity about inconsistencies in places like government-approved narratives. Generally, those have been agreed upon if contested. These days, we see a thin-skinned leadership that takes everything personal. Everything personal, can't take a joke, and is not against hopping aboard bandwagons to share in grievances. Not to our own. Oh, not our own, but for that buzz and companionship. So that last bit was saying, even if we don't have anything to complain about, we'll find somebody that is and decide that I can complain with that. Let me on there and jump on that bandwagon. Just to have that ability to vent that feeling of, I was wronged and you did it. There's a whole bunch of us that agree on it. And it might not even be like, it might be NA for you, N/A, not applicable. Pardon. Meanwhile, as those things were taking place, below many surfaces, our own as well as institutions, public and private, changes are brewing. It's not our imagination. We are seeing in real time how the sausage is made. The workings of all of these things we're attached to are actually in possession of us, and for generations, we'll fight you. We'll fight you if our belief in, we'll fight you if you, I didn't write it. We'll fight you if you defy our belief. Hold on, let me get that in there. We'll fight you if you defy our belief in our team, religion, or brand, but are blind to all of the ferocity being born of that same hold on us. It is pure manipulation. Oh, I didn't finish the word. Hi, I like that. Manipule. Oh, yeah, there's the rest of it. Never mind. It's pure manipulation. We hold on to what are visibly failing institutions. So deep in our rut, we've lost sight of what possibilities lie beyond them, just waiting there to be tapped for the creation of new institutions to form. Ones that don't only feed on us and, like vampires, extract from us our attention and distract us from what they are doing to us while they've diverted our attention. Let me breathe. That was a weird sentence. It was like long and chunky. Unpaved road. We can also see it, some of us. We might see unexplained, parenthetical, I suspect someone can, aerial phenomenon. So unexplained aerial phenomenon, but I slipped in the middle of there. I suspect someone can explain them. Maybe animals and nature have begun to have an irresistible pull upon us. Begun to have an irresistible pull upon us. A new empathy toward both that makes us undergo life-changing new habits. The rhythm was bad there. I hope you can follow it. We might come to view people differently. We may review our self-perspective. All I'm saying is we and the times are a-changin'. I can't help but make connections to the two. We are in the midst of a tide changing, sink or swim. Over and over, obsolescence starts to take hold. We're seeing a tragic... Oh, I spelled that weird. That should be a G. We're seeing a tragic attempt to dull empathy in people, to try and replace humanity's own love of itself with something vile or into something vile or wrong. Like, I feel like, and it's not just a feeling, I think it's detectable, but I think there's like a push out there to get people to stop being empathetic toward each other, and it's just like, if you're doing that for a profit, that's great until all of a sudden doing that no longer becomes profitable, and then you got still people there that you haven't been dealing with very well, and they may not want to deal with you at all anymore. Like, you kind of gotta have a little foresight and decide, like, do I want to burn this bridge? Like, I might want to go back this way. I might need to. Something else I guess we're sort of slacking on is foresight. Like, what will happen? Could something go wrong if I decide to do this? I don't know if we're doing that anymore. Like, important people with important positions in the world, I don't know if they're doing that. It kind of feels like they're not. Feels like their priorities are elsewhere. Anyway, where was I? Yes. Over and over again, obsolescence starts to take hold. We're seeing a tragic attempt to dull empathy in people, to try and replace humanity's own love of itself with something vile or, boy, I wrote that crazy. We're trying to replace humanity's own love for itself with something vile and wrong, like humanism and futurism and implants and bionics and such. You could say that I'm like what is the word? I'm not I don't want like implant parts that need hex keys to adjust. I want to remain wholly biological. I already have enough replacement parts. Thank you. I mean, unless it's going to save my life, but I don't need to have a sword arm or something like that. I can't open her hand. That seems limiting. How many cans are you going to have to open in a whole day or lifetime? Sorry, got a little sidetracked. Oh my, where was I? To try and replace humanity, okay, I already said that. Vile and wrong. Okay, all the while appearing pathetic and frantic in the attempt. Recently I watched a doc about the turning of the century from, well, I guess I should say from about the turning. No, I guess it is about, let me just read the damn sentence. I watched a doc about the turning of the century from the 18th to the 19th and the managed culling of whole societies and architectures. Tartarians swept up and placed in asylums without any symptoms normally required for being committed like illness or insanity. They were landowners, so they lost that. They were loners, so they had like no one around them at their back. They were children. Children rarely have defense if they don't have parents. Orphans, right? Or even, I guess they weren't all orphans and they were just taken and separated from their parents. Like, I'm not sure. It sounds a lot like slavery, actually, the way the people were treated. So I've gone off script again. Let me find my way back here. So yeah, they were landowners, loners, children, widows, single women, described at times as unwilling to conform to society, to a new society if they hailed from some other place. But it doesn't sound like they did. It sounds like they were just people from the area that didn't fit to the didn't fit into the narrative that was being manufactured. It was a reset of how it was. It was a reset of how it was to be. I wrote that crazy too. It was a reset of how it was to be, how like reality was to be going forward. They were just like going through and excising people, places, and things that did not fit the narrative that they were constructing. That is crazy. So this is a total brief sidetrack, but in a couple of ghost paranormal investigation videos, they've gone to an asylum that was back east, pretty famous, got closed down because of the mistreatment of the residents, but a number of paranormal teams have gone through there and detected a particular ghost. And in the doc, he looked very much like some of these people that were sometimes described as Tartarians, but these people that were kind of wrongly committed to asylums just kind of to get them out of the way. Like they might have had different languages that we're just no longer, we don't know what they were because they were strange to like Americans at the time. Because it sounded like, as here and as well as in Europe and other places where there were, cities with capitals and, cathedrals and grand architecture. And so all over the world, I guess this was happening. These people and their way of life and the architecture of their lives was just being erased. So the thing about that is in the pictures and the video, there was a lot of, like an abnormal amount of people, of men mainly, that seemed to be like almost 7 feet tall. That's unusual. I think it was unusual in the time period. Like, I don't think people were that big because many of them were like malnourished. They were sort of starving, so they couldn't grow good. And then here are these really super tall guys. So they just kept, the tall guys were always in the photos where Tartarians were mentioned. And so the Ghostbuster team, that's how I have to say it, I'm sorry, have gone to this place. Parkhaven, maybe is the name of it. It's gone now. They finally tore it down. I know it was repurposed a number of times and it just never worked right because too many life echoes in that place to be like turned into like an apartment building or an office building. So anyway, when the people from the paranormal teams would go these places, there was a particular inhabitant, ghostly inhabitant, that had been there, and he was extremely tall, like these people in the Tartaria video. And that connection is just, like, even now talking about it, there's a spot on my head that's just like going blam, blam. It's like, you got something, you're onto something. I don't know why that's important, except for, like, maybe in this time of revelations and disclosures, some stuff about Tartaria will also be exposed. So let me get back to this. I'm almost done. And if you don't know what Tartaria is, I am going to, I think I'll try and remember to link that video that I watched that I'm thinking of in particular. So anyway, it was okay, so I read that. The doc spoke of no transition, though there seemed to have been one. Its details conveniently omitted. It was mysterious like that, as most on the subject are, but a query one made stays in my mind in regard to them, in regard to videos about Soteria. It was, why does archaeology so often involve being dug up? Why does it so often involve history being dug up? Why does it, actually what I wrote was, why does archaeology so often involve digging up history? Why didn't I just, that was the right way to say it. Anyway, can you grow a spine? It was, oh, I already did that. I feel like the answer was right there in the question. History was routinely buried to edit and obscure as the victors who shape the narratives have always done. We all, the rest of us, have to fall in line or fall into the line of fire, or in the way of progress, bearing down upon us like a big Chinese tank, or hopefully leap out of the way, out of harm's way. I digress. I digress. Digress. Why can't I say it right? Anyway, when we're able to start discerning inconsistencies, how they go deeper than how words that promise can change to shape a changing narrative. I don't even know if that made sense. I'm just going to keep going. What can our propensity not to notice is falling away? Wait, what? What can't... Oh, wait a second. What can't any longer be counted upon is our propensity not to notice. What? Okay, maybe I do need to read that again because read it again because I'm lost. When we are able to start discerning inconsistencies, how they go deeper than how words that promise can change, comma, to shape a changing narrative. There we go. Let me throw that comma in there. Nope, that's not a pen. Come on now, just a comma. That's all I need from you. Okay. Okay, so what can't any longer be counted upon is our propensity not to notice. It's falling away like scales from our eyes. There we go. There, I managed to work the title into the whole text of the piece. There we go, the body of the piece. And, oh, half an hour. Okay, so, oh, I hate it when I lost my page. Anyway, here's what I'll do with the cards real quick. I did glance through the book to see what they're talking about. So, I'm not going to do like the whole deep thing, but am I going the wrong way with these? Could be. So, okay, the blue flame. There, you can see it through the portal. It either looks like a split iris or a blue energy figure being. beckoning, hi, come in here. Come out of there. Come out of that outside and come in here. The subtitles are Spontaneous Awakening, Activation, Integration Time. What was I just talking about? All of a sudden awakening to like, oh, everything is not what I thought it was around me. In fact, it's disturbingly not at all what I thought. It takes some grounding to begin to approach these, what the inconsistencies reveal to you, because once you start seeing the cracks, then all kinds of more information starts falling through. And it's not like what you are used to seeing. It's very unusual for us. It's like a whole new operating system that we're just like, wait, the operating system is changing? Some of us? People operate at different speeds. We've talked about this. So the next card is Karmic Relationships. And the subtitles on this one are Orion Energy, Polarity, Soul Growth, Conflict. So it kind of feels like that's what's happening. Like you are either one of these two figures, and they're representational. They're not like single people. They might represent some people, or like a society or something. But what a karmic does in a relationship is interact with you in ways that change things for you, for them, for everyone. Change your perspective on your other relationships, or come in and mess up your other relationships, cause confusion, cause a breakdown to where like everything is in pieces, and if anything is to be salvaged, you have to go back and look at and feel all of the, like, relive everything that broke apart and reassemble yourself. Maybe not exactly the way it was before, because how could it be? Just the change has implemented a difference in the shape of things. Like, you can reassemble things, but they're never going to be exactly the way they were before, and they're not meant to. It's a process that is part of life, like having a common cold. It recurs, and when it does, that signals a time like, oh, something is happening here that like requires more thought than like, oh, I just got a cold. Like, okay, so now you're sick. Now you gotta lay there and be all weak and feeble, and what can you do but lay there and be in your head and in your body, and maybe whatever's going on with what you're finding in your head, you could also incorporate your heart, just to sort of temper things. Okay, so the next card is Cracked Open. That is a term you'll hear a lot from people that are freshly awakened. It's like, oh, my emotions got cracked open, or oh, this experience cracked open all of these memories, and that brings a whole flood of sensations and feelings. I don't think I have to explain how that works. So, the subtitles on this card are all of this is awakening stuff. Rock Bottom, Surrender to the Alchemy of Life. Well, that, just reinforces, I feel like, what I just said, but there is a figure. It's funny because it's obviously a person in white. You can see like shoulders and that, but it looks like they have a sheet over their head, like a Peanuts comic strip ghost. Ooh, kind of scary too. Look at that thing. Look at those teeth. There's a horror movie, like an old horror movie with something that looks like that. That's disturbing, because you know what else has a mouth like that? Well, not really. Never mind. Etch-a-sketch. Okay, well, I basically talked about all of this right before I picked up the card. But when you crack open, what's cracked open is this sort of facade, this candy shell, this brittle, thin exterior that you have thought was all, like, it's all about you. Like, this is me. This is what I'm about. This is my life. Only to find out that once it cracked, all this other information can come in and reveal to you that, like, yeah, none of what you thought was real or the right way. It was like all pretend, kind of. But you didn't know you were pretending. There's a Jim Carrey movie called The Truman Show that came into my awareness a couple of days ago. If I can find it, if it's available to me, I think I'm going to watch it again, because I saw a YouTube, I guess, reaction video on it, and it was talking about all of the symbolism in it. And I did see every single thing they talked about as far as, like, what was the symbology in there, like what imagery was. And I noticed every single thing, but I had no frame of reference for it. Like, I didn't know it was all of this spiritual awakening stuff, except for it was sort of like that arc of life where you go through from, like, birth to elderly person and everything that happens along the way. And he was just going along, and then he was rudely awakened. And it does kind of take you to rock bottom to realize that you were just all wrong about your whole existence. It could be destabilizing. And that's what happened to him in the movie. But yeah, there was all of this symbolism about the awakening arc and everything, and hitting rock bottom with the awareness of, like, oh, this, like, you just feel betrayed, and you just let me be wrong and live a lie for all this time. And it's like, there's no one to go looking for an apology for, because that's the way of things. Like, the fake thing, the whole pretense and facade, that's how it is until you find out it isn't. And where you go from there is going to determine where you go from there. Like, if you come out the other end of that, like, I'm a victim, oh my God, this happened to me, rather than, woo, like, okay, maybe I was victimized, but that was for my edification. What can I learn from what just happened there? And that's, you gotta learn how to do that even. Like, there's so many steps to this business, this awakening. Okay, the next card is Seas of Mintaka, and I think I was going to look this up, and I didn't ever get to it. Seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. That's what I've been talking about, like, seeing over the edge of that rut you got stuck into. Like, this is not all there is. It never was. You just got all wrapped up in it, and so far down in the rut you can't see the way out anymore. It's there. It's always still there. Like, you fell down there, you can find a way back up. Like, you know there's an up to go to. It's, again, waking up to your circumstances. Like, a sudden understanding that, like, wait, this can't be all there is. And often it's not. Okay, you gotta start from somewhere. And so the last card is Earth. Earth with an ED. I don't think I looked. I think I guess I just got, like, too sided. I got too excited. I wanted to do it. What the hell's the matter with me? I got too excited. I just wanted to hurry up and get to it. Because, when you're in a car wreck and you feel like okay, and then, like, 3 to 4 days later, you're just all mangled and sore and hitched up, and you can't move. And that's kind of how I feel. My arms are not, I'm in pain. They're both very sore from wheelchairing too far after too long not going a distance. Like, I was already injured. I just made it worse. So I want to hurry up and finish and go to bed. That's what I'm trying to get to. So, Earthed. Learning how to be human. Oh, I didn't really show you the last one. It looks like an ocean scene to me. I'm going to come back to these cards and actually go through the book with them. But just first impressions. So, okay, here's the card, Earthed. It looks like they're still at the beach, kind of. Or somebody is, I don't know, looking out of a tent. They have a viewing portal in the tent. And there seems to be a person there on the other side. Yeah, there's like sea turtles migrating in the water below. Seals, maybe? I don't know. Look. They don't really look like people. So I'm not sure what that is, but we were at the beach. Somehow it seems like we're still there in some sense. Are we in a cabana? What's happening? Anyway, this card says, learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. So learning how to be human, well, we're wrapped up in our candy shells, not really aware of the reality of what's happening. We're sort of like, in one sense we're in a cocoon, but I would say that it was kind of like a dumb cocoon because we can see out of it like Leto 2 from Dune, the God Emperor worm, where he's like a worm with a human face on it. In a cocoon, normally, whatever's inside of the thing, from the outside, I don't know that they can see out. I can't tell if they can see out from the inside, from where I am on the outside. Does that make sense? They could perceive, but I've never heard it talked about, so this is something else. But it also has like a peeper vibe. Like, if he's on the outside and looking into this woman's tent cabana thing, well, they're looking right at the hole, too. Is somebody busted? Do you just know? Or it's a mirror. I don't know. I'm a little lost on this one. I really would have to consult the book. Which I'm not going to do, however, because it's running on longer than I want to be going. We're gonna put a pin in that. But what the subtitles do tell me is you've gone through all of these phases where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was the way it was. And the thing about scales falling from your eyes, it's almost like they immediately grow new ones. Like, you can see what you couldn't see before, but now there's more things. You realize with this new ability to see that there's more stuff that you still can't see yet. The scales it's scales upon scales. Just like wheels upon wheels. Or wheels within wheels. And always, a changing perspective, a changing viewpoint. And we go through these cycles where we're up and we're down, and we have to like relearn stuff or learn lessons, learn things a new way. Something always takes us back to like the bottom, because that's the only way we can sort of see our way up and out of our rut. That's where we have to end up to remember how to climb again, I guess. Okay, that's it for now. I'm just gonna put those aside. And I'm glad that I just sort of did this with the reading, because I actually, where's that other card? Oh my gosh, where did I put it? So there was another card that I had pulled even before I got those ones out. Shoot, where is it? I know it's back there. It was there it is. Oops. hate it when that happens. It was a Declarations of Mary Magdalene card, which I pull one of those every day. It's an oracle deck, but they always require some thought before I really talk about them, because the declarations are layered with meaning, and they also have like a physical impact. Like, you can feel these cards in your gut, in your intuition. Like you know, like I feel like, and everybody that I've seen come in contact with them know that they are like a true good energy, and so they sort of require more from you than what your logical mind is gonna give you. It's gonna ask of you like the intuition of your gut, and also, you know, the emotions of your heart, where, I mean, they're all really connected, but it's almost like your heart is the greater intelligence than your logical thought mind. So this one is extremely long and challenging. It's got a lot going on. There's a lot of words on there. And they tend to be one sentence, which is crazy. So you saw how long that is. I'm going to try to get the intonation right. I am the resurrection of light in oneness. I am Mary the Magdalene, goddess. I am one with the creator source of all that is, as is, eternally. I am feminine Christ, and I am that which walks the earth through every woman after me. Oh, there goes the end of a sentence. May you be granted peace in thy sacred heart, where you remember your truth. So that's a theme these cards come back to a lot, is remembering your sacred heart. That emotional intelligence place that sort of advises your other forms of intelligence, like your intuition and your logic. And so for me to wander from your sacred heart and its guidance is to become someone that wants to take what others have, to have more than what others have, to use that as a form of control over others and things like that. Those are times when you've wandered away from your sacred heart, because your sacred heart will not, like, you won't even want those things, because you know that you don't need them. That when we do that, it's like a weird thing. It's like we agree to go and like take a murderer, like, you know, that's what we're gonna do. Like, that's gonna be our life path thing. But we can't do it without the sort of given cooperation of another person. And that's not to say that they're not gonna struggle and fight for their life, but on a level, they have consented to take part in this karma that is being enacted by this activity. And it'll have repercussions on the two individuals and whoever are surviving the incident created by the two in the first place. And so, yes, you leave your sacred heart where you wouldn't dream of taking a life to participate in this dual activity that is for the greater good, as far as who's going to feel what as a result of it. That is more valuable than it sounds, I think, because we're not used to thinking in terms of that type of activity being valuable, or even being something done with a form of consent. not the kind of consent that we often are seeking in our regular lives, in real life, but a consent on a higher level that took place at a different time and place even. So, there's you gotta have layers of understanding even sometimes to delve into, understanding these cards. But yeah, okay, I did it. I dealt with it. Yay! Okay, maybe I'll take a shower with some salts before bed. Maybe. I don't know how active I feel. Anyway, thank you and good night.